Okay, so here we are, we're in the month of May and things are revving up in the kitchen garden at a great pace. A couple of things that I want to look at today. One is French beans, but before I start on that, I want to touch on something that somebody asked about, butternut squash. Now, it's not too late to start butternut squash. We're really not looking at planting them out until early June when the risk of frost has gone and the weather's warmed up. So to start them off, all you need is a 9cm pot with some peat-free compost in it and a label. Now the label's quite important because you can put the date that you sow these plants in there. And after about 10 days, if you haven't got any signs of life, then maybe something's gone wrong. Maybe a mouse has got at it, maybe the seeds have rotted. Now with all squash and pumpkin seeds, where people fall over is that they sow them flat. So you can see how big and flat these seeds are. What you want to do is sow them on their sides because that means the water moves past the seed very quickly and doesn't allow it to rot. So what I'm going to do is take 2 of these seeds and push them in on their sides in the middle of the container. And what I'm hoping is that 2 seeds will come up, and very cruelly I will select the strongest one because that'll be the plant that will go out into the garden. If one of them does fail, that's still okay, you've got another one waiting in the wings to take over. So butternut squash, good luck with those. Now in terms of French beans, if you're going to grow vegetables and you've got a limited space, you're looking for those kind of crops that you can really taste the difference between what you're growing and what's in the supermarket. Now your own fresh French beans are worlds apart from what you can buy, so definitely worth that bit of effort. I'm going to show you some different ways to grow them. Some are in the ground. If you've got particularly wet ground or you're worried about pests in the garden, start them off in pots. So same principle with the label and the date, and we're looking at 2 seeds per 9cm pot to ensure that we get one really strong seed. So with these dwarf French beans, this is what the seeds look like. Almost look like mint Tic Tacs. So they can go into the pot, 2 together, and I want to push them down about 5 centimeters. 2 might come up, and then with a pair of scissors I just take the weaker one off at the base. But you can start your French beans off on a sunny windowsill in an unheated greenhouse or a conservatory now to get them going. But around May time, I'd like to think that the weather's getting a bit warmer so they can go direct into the ground. So I've got a couple of string lines here that are 45 centimeters apart. Now you can use bamboo canes and string, everything works just as well. So what I'm going to do is with a hoe just take out a small trench running along the side of the string line, making sure your string line's nice and tight, then it won't wobble about all over the place. Nobody likes a wobbly string line. What I'm then going to do is add some water. Now the reason I'm adding some water to this is because I want water to be at the bottom of the seed rather than on the surface of the soil, which is where all the weeds will have an absolute field day and grow away. At least by putting the water where I need it to be, the seed's got enough then to at least germinate. So with these we've got a double row. So these double rows are here and they support each other, and every 20 centimeters or so I've got a cane that's cut at 20 centimeters, I'm going to put 2 seeds and then use my stick to put another 2, and then my stick to use another 2, and I'll repeat that for as much room as I've got, and then also do that second row. When those seeds germinate, that's the time to select the strongest one again. It's very cruel, but just keep thinking of those tasty beans. So then I'm working my way back along the row, covering those seeds, and I've not got any compaction along the row there. And again, I would expect them to be up in 10 days, 2 weeks time. With seeds, French beans that are in the ground, sow them every month or so, because if you sow them every month or so you'll get a successional crop, because these French beans won't crop forever, whereas the climbing ones will tend to go on until September, and when they start to flower, lots of water. It'll be the world of good. If you haven't got space in your garden, you can easily use a container. This is a fair sized container with some multi-purpose compost in it. What I've done is use the same sort of principle, so about 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters apart, 2 seeds, which then get firmed into the ground, into the soil, and lightly covered. With the date, so in about 10 days, 2 weeks time, we should have some seeds there. Final part of our French bean journey, an epic journey it is we're going to look at climbing French beans. Now I love climbing French beans because they are so much more civilized in terms of picking, because they're at the right height and you haven't got to sort of wash all the soil off of them. I prefer these. If you can get some hazel sticks or bamboo canes roughly about 2 feet apart, you can put 4 in the ground, and at the base of the pole or bamboo cane just take out a little furrow. Exactly the same principle, where I'm going to add a little bit of water to the bottom of the hole, which is where we want the water, and I've got my climbing French beans. You can see the seeds are slightly different, but a lot of them will vary. And within that hole, I'm going to put 2 or 3 seedlings, 2 or 3 seeds, in the hope that I get 2 or 3 seedlings. So I'm putting 3 seeds at the bottom of this hole, covering with the soil. And again, I can select the strongest one when that starts to grow. There's a lot of selecting the strongest seeds, which I know will be very difficult, but trust me, it's a good practice and well worth it. Enjoy your beans.